Okay, are you guys good? Okay. So we know who you are, but can you introduce your name and preferred pronouns?
I'm Shreya Gupta, and my preferred pronouns are she, her, hers.
So can you tell us a little bit about like where you grew up, what the environment was like?
My parents were born in India, and then they immigrated here, and then I appeared. I think I'm like relatively connected to my culture. Like my parents definitely made it a priority to like make sure that there's a good balance of both like American culture and Indian culture. But also at the same time, I think there's definitely I'm not as Indian. I'm not sure that's a good way to say it, but like as Indian as someone who like grew up in the area, right? I know it's a relatively common thing in like Indian families where they want you to date someone of Indian or like South Asian descent, but several people in my family like have married outside of like my race, and everyone, even like my grandparents, are super chill about it. I've been told frequently, and I think I personally also agree with the fact that I have like very chill Indian parents. For like all of elementary school, I grew up in Nashville, New Hampshire, and then in at the end of fifth grade, I moved to Austin, Texas, which is significantly more diverse. Like I am obviously not the I guess classic beauty standard, right? And I think it took a lot of time to come to terms with it. I think I'm like still taking time to like, come to terms with the fact that like you can still be beautiful without like matching this like beauty standard, right? I'm not white, I'm not blonde, no blue eyes, but I don't know. It's definitely like a journey, I guess. That sounds kind of cliche, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
Do you think your cultural background has affected your romantic relationships at all?
in Austin, amongst some of my brown friends, there was like this thing where people were like, "Oh yeah, like hot brown people don't date other brown people," and it's like just really strange. I don't know. I don't know, it was my freshman or sophomore year, scrolling through Instagram Reels, and they're one of those like street interview things where this guy goes and like shoves the microphone in people's faces. And he was like, "Oh, like what's a like race you would never date?" Which like first of all, that's a fucked up question to ask people on the street, but he did it. And like the compilation, like every other one was like, "Oh, South Asian, Indian, South Asian," and like it fucked me up for like a good month. I was just like, "Wow, I am ugly and worthless," which isn't true, right? But like, but I feel like there's a perception that like people don't want to date Indian people, um, or like you get like fetishized as like being like exotic. Like I had someone like come up to me at like a frat party and they were like, "You're like so exotic. Where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Texas." I'm not gonna like dox anyone, but I've definitely like heard Indian guys at MIT be like, "Oh yeah, I don't date Indian girls," and I'm like, "That's fucked," but it's a thing. My parents kind of have this like perspective where like my friends and like my romantic life, as long as I'm like safe and healthy, is like kind of my business. Like I like dated someone in high school and we both like ended up going to MIT. Like the person I dated was white. I distinctly remember my mom was like, "Oh yeah, like I don't care as long as like they're a good person." I know his parents were like very invested in like getting to know me, and I was like, I don't want this. And I think like just the way that I just like wasn't used to that culture where it was expected for him to like date people in high school and like, "Oh, having your girlfriend over for dinner," and I was like, I this is so strange. I'm not with him anymore. It's a good lesson where you can like someone as like a person. Like I still think he's a great person, but it's just like a matter of fact that like sometimes people grow and like diverge, and that's okay. And like sometimes it's just healthier. So I downloaded Tinder for like a month over the summer. I had someone like first thing ask me for a chana masala recipe, and I was like, but it turned out to be wholesome. He was like, "Yeah, my like roommate's like Indian, and I want to like surprise him for his birthday. Like, sorry, this is a weird place to ask, but I have no other brown friends." And I was like, "This is a lot," so I deleted it like I think a month, maybe 2 months later.
I mean, at least something I've talked to you about, like, before is we talked about beauty standards before, I remember.
Oh, yeah. It's like a struggle to find like empowered, like Indian women who are by the camera like portrayed as beautiful in media. If you like look up, do I have my phone on me? Okay, like if you look up Asian, oh my god, I can't spell, streetwear, all these people are East Asian. You see a lot of like Asian like beauty and fitness influencers, or like East Asian. And like that's obviously good that it exists for East Asian people. I'm not like I don't want to like bring that down, but like I wish that you'd see the same type of representation for South Asians in media. I like honestly am struggling to come up with someone off the top of my head. All these people are East Asian, and even if you go search up like Indian makeup, you see a lot of these like really like traditional beauty looks, but you don't see a lot of stuff from like Indian Americans. Like, all right, this is a lehenga. All right, this is also a lehenga. If you look at like the Indian people at MIT, a lot of them like dress really well and like have really nice makeup, right? But none of that like fits, or like you never see any of that like captured and like put on media. So like I'm a relatively like lighter skin tone Indian, but like if your skin tone is darker and you're Indian, you're gonna find even less content like centered around making like you feel beautiful, which like really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the nice thing about college is I've been like exposed to a lot of like really attractive and really cool Indian people. So I think especially because when you have celebrities, you put them on like a pedestal. But like if there are people who you have classes with and you've like talked to them and you know they're like cool, interesting people who like other people find attractive, you're like, this is fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. That's so nice.